Lee Checkstead here from Century 21 Canada. Thank you for joining us for yet another day of our Be Relentless webinar series. We've had a great lineup of speakers, and we have another great lineup today, several speakers to tell us a little bit about social media and some of the things that you can be doing right now. One of the things that we've learned from you over the last couple of weeks is that doing video is more important than ever. Embracing some of the technology that's available to you is important, but we also know it's still intimidating for you as well. So we have a panel this morning to show you the tools, the technology, and give you the reassurance that you have the ability to do this. We will begin with our facilitator, Chiyoko, the VP of Marketing for Century 21 Canada. Hi, Chiyoko.
Good morning, Lee. Nice to see you online. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Super excited to be part of this panel and be the moderator to talk about social media and how it can generate leads for you. We thank you so much for continuing to tune in every single day to our Be Relentless webinar series, and we're really excited to provide you another week filled with wonderful speakers. So I hope you all had a chance to listen to Alicia yesterday from BombBomb. And one of the things that she said, I put a quote up here, it says, visibility beats ability. And we don't mean ability as you don't need to be a good real estate agent, because you absolutely need to be a good real estate agent and deliver that gold standard of service. But visibility beats ability means it's better to be visible on social media and the things that you're doing versus being perfect at it. So we have some great panelists that are going to talk about, pushing themselves outside their comfort zone and, just doing some different things so they can stay visible through their social media channels when everyone is really cooped up at home. But before we get to our social media panel and before I formally introduce them, I did want to introduce someone super special to us. She's someone that's behind the scenes all the time. Her name is Jocelyn Trenaman, and she is our marketing and graphic design coordinator. Jocelyn is going to talk to you and show you some of the great graphics and tools that we have available for you so you can make sure that you stay visible on your social media channels. And again, just a little tip is to, speak from the heart, tell your social media followers how you're adapting your business to deal with these particularly challenging times. And I'm going to let now Jocelyn go through her presentation for you.
Thank you, Chiyoko. Hi, everyone. So as Chiyoko and many of our webinar guests have spoken of, social media is such a good channel to communicate and connect with your target audience. Sorry, just gonna get my new video here. There we go. So it's such a good channel to connect and communicate with your community. And this is a great way to connect and show that you care for these people. So now I'm going to highlight some new material we created just for you to help you navigate through these uncertain times. This will help you show that you are visible to your community. All these resources are available in two different locations, which is the Resource Center and the Marketing Center, which are both accessible through the Core 21 platform. First, we're going to talk about some new material on the Resource Center. First, we have our brand social media bricks. These are developed so you can showcase your Core 21 values and showcase the Core 21 brand. You can post these to your social media and allow you to be able to show that you care and support your community. And you're also able to edit all of these templates and add in your own image to make it personalized to you. And this is done through the PowerPoint and Google Slide images. And now, while you're all adapting to these unprecedented times, it's also important that you actually communicate these changes to your clients. That's why we created these two virtual offerings. The first one here is an icon, which is more of a visual display, so you can clearly communicate to all your clients what you are currently offering. And we also have an appendix of extra icons, so you're able to specify exactly what your clients are seeing and being able to offer to them. The next version is a worded, more descriptive version. In this brick, you're able to add a lot more details to your brick and then be able to showcase them. And these are both editable through PowerPoint as well as Google Slides. We also have some new agent quote bricks. These are really great because you're able to add in your own information and image, as well as an interesting quote or fact about yourself. And that allows you to really kind of get out there and put yourself out there. What I really love about these is that they can be customized in so many different ways. Here at a head office, we're using them to showcase some of our amazing agents across the country and how they deliver the gold standard. And now, as you guys all know, most of our meetings are getting changed to virtual meetings. So it's really important to show that you have your virtual branded background on there. This will add a level of sophistication and professionalism to all of your presentations. And they're especially great for either recruiting or your listing presentations that are done virtually now. Now, those are just some of the new social media materials available on the Resource Center. But we have over 300 social media bricks available to all C21ers. These range from anything from social or special occasion posts to cover images, as well as award bricks, and they're all available on the Resource Center. And now, kind of as Chiyoko and Lee mentioned, you may be thinking you're new to social media or you really struggle with it. And don't worry, we have so many resources available to you, from best practices to tips and tricks, to make sure that your social media is the best and you become a master in this subject. We also have created some resources to help guide you through this unprecedented time. This is everything from hosting a step-by-step guide to hosting a virtual open house, as well as how to create a Facebook Live video, and some online presentation best practices, including a quick start to Google Meets. And this is available for all C21ers. We also have some tips on how to communicate during these unprecedented times and how to talk about COVID-19. So now all those resources are available on the Resource Center. Now we're going to move on to the best-in-class Marketing Center. You're able to access the Marketing Center through your Core 21 account or through the Google Waffle on your Google homepage. What's new to the Marketing Center are these client announcement posts. There's 4 different versions that you or your client are able to share on your social media to congratulate or say that they moved into a new home or bought a new home selling a home, kind of ranging from all these things. What's really great about these ones is that you're able to actually post them onto your social media account, as well as your clients able to post them on their social media account, which allows you to really broaden your audience and really target those people. And with so many open houses moving to the virtual open houses, we thought we'd share a really handy tip for you guys. So on the Marketing Center, you're able to actually edit all the text boxes that you see on the materials here. What we did here in this example was on our classic open house post was simply adding the word virtual. Now we're able to share this on all our social media accounts and promote a future or upcoming virtual open house. And some new resources on the BombBomb Center, BombBomb. So with video, as Chiyoko and Lee mentioned, being such an important channel to connect with your clients, BombBomb is such an excellent platform to be able to do this on. We created 5 new social media templates, header templates for your emails, as well as 2 Here For You banners. With these, you're able to really up your level of your emails, adding a branded and professionalism look to them. And while you're reaching out to your audience during these unprecedented times. As well, our amazing graphic designer created some really captivating and engaging GIF banners. These will allow you to subtly capture the attention of your viewer and get them to open your video. So that wraps up what's new for our social media platforms. Remember that these are all available on our Resource Center, Marketing Center, and on BombBomb. And be sure to keep an eye out on News 21 for the latest updates on the newest social media platforms. Thank you. I'll pass it back to Chiyoko now.
Great. Thank you so much, Jocelyn. That's absolutely wonderful. So thanks to you and Lee and the rest of the marketing team for continuing to provide the best tools in the industry to our C21 network members. So thank you so much. So let's go on to talk and to introduce to you our panelists to talk about social media and how to use social media in order to generate more leads. So first of all, I do want to introduce Troy Vaillancourt. He is from Century 21 Shield Realty in Cornwall, which I had to actually Google where Cornwall was. So it's basically between Ottawa and Montreal and a little bit more south of that. So just small town, I think there's 45,000 people in it. Troy, you can confirm that in just a sec. But now I want to introduce Krista Trask. She is from just outside of St. John's, Newfoundland, and so she is here with us too. So I want to start off by letting them introduce themselves because they do know themselves a little bit better than I do. So I'm going to ask now for Jocelyn just to, unshare her screen so we can see everyone loud and clear. And I just want to start off by letting the panelists introduce themselves. So Krista, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been in real estate, and also, what the current climate is in your local market?
Hey, everybody. My name is Krista Trask. As Chiyoko had mentioned, I'm based here in St. John's, Newfoundland. I think most people know we're Newfoundland, Labrador, with the island right off to the east. Looking forward actually to entertaining everybody in October for our national conference. So thank you, Century 21 Canada, for allowing that to happen. I've been in the business since 2011. I've been prior to that actually doing real estate development, flipping houses, doing bigger construction jobs. So I kind of got into the act of selling around 2011. So with Century 21 now since 2015. So it's been exciting to see. We've been pretty much in a weird kind of market for the last number of years. Since 2015, we tend to ride the gas wave. So when gas prices are down, we tend to feel it a little bit more in our side of the world. So we've been in a buyer's market since 2015. Things are slowly starting to come around. So hopefully this pandemic can slowly disappear. Thank you very much. We can get back to actually starting to feel like the markets are coming back and hopefully get back to a more balanced market.
Great, thanks, Trista. Troy, over to you.
Hey, everybody. Yeah, I'm Troy Vaillancourt, Chiyoko. You got my name right, so not a lot of people can pronounce that, so thank you. I've been in real estate in Cornwall for almost 15 years. 2018, I joined Century 21, and our market here is good. Our average house price is about $250,000. So a lot of people can afford housing. So our housing market has always been very, very steady, which has been great. We are being hit just like everybody else is. Our March was extremely good. We saw about a 10% increase in sales. Our average house price was up by roughly $10,000 compared to what it was last year. April, it's slowing down like anywhere else, I guess. Last year, this time, between April 1st and now, we had roughly 65 sales on our board. And that's been reduced to 34 is what it currently sits at as of yesterday when I looked anyway. So we're being hit like everywhere else. But I mean, Cornwall's been a great market for us up to now.
Great, thanks, Troy. And while we're still on you, why don't you tell us how social media plays in your overall marketing plan? It doesn't really play a big part in your marketing plan because I do see all the social media that you do, so it must play a big part. But can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. Social media has been huge for me. I got into it fairly early. So I was able to familiarize myself with Facebook and maybe best tools and practices for using it. I use it every day. Instagram and Facebook are what I utilize. Facebook, I have my personal page. I have a business page that's separate. Then Instagram's kind of a mixture of the two of them. Trying to get a little bit more into, before the pandemic hit, I was trying to get a little bit more into my Facebook page, being a little bit more consistent with professional. You could go on and see that I'm a real estate agent and know the market and a contact expert when it comes to that. So it's always played a big part. Generating leads on there, it has always been huge for me. It's always been a very big lead gen for me. I've gotten, since the pandemic hit, I've really softened my image a little bit, but maybe we can get into that after. But yeah, social media has been great for me.
And Troy, you talked a little bit about before the pandemic hit, about being kind of positioning yourselves as thought leaders. How have you adapted? I know you said you've gone a little bit soft, but how have you adapted your social media efforts to be a little bit more sensitive to our current challenging times?
Well, that's just it. So before it was always, posting listings, posting sold, market updates kind of thing. Since the pandemic hit, I've softened that a little bit. I think it's a good opportunity for us now to not only show our professional side, but maybe also throw in the personal side, so people can see that we are, like you, and we are human like everybody else, and there is a family side and that kind of stuff. So I've been doing TikToks with my daughter, which has been a lot of fun. So I'm kind of putting myself out there like that, and that is not a way for me to generate business. I guess it's just more she wants me to do it, and it puts myself out there a little bit differently than people are used to seeing me. So that's worked out really well. My content has slowly gone down from all business to a little bit more personal, just reaching out to people, letting them know that I'm here for them. It's important that they know I still am in business, and I'm still here to work for them. But at the same time, I want them to see that there is a little bit of a softer side to the business side of me as well.
Great, thanks, Troy. So Krista, let's go over to you. So why don't you talk to us a little bit about how social media plays in your overall marketing plan? Does it play a big role? And really what was your social media strategy going into, let's just say, March, and how has that changed, or how have you adapted it since the beginning of March when all of this started happening?
So I guess my background is I have a business degree and marketing background. So naturally for me, when I got into real estate, social media was like, for me, it was easy. It was just like, this is something that is a great way to kind of kickstart, get back, get into branding yourself and letting people know that I'm now into real estate. So anybody new out there, it's an amazing way to kind of get word out really quickly. I guess for me, and I guess like Atlantic Canada, I had this conversation with some colleagues of mine from Atlantic Canada, how we conduct business. We're a smaller market, everybody kind of knows everybody. So it's really about know, like, and trust even more. It's very relationship based. So I think for me, Facebook in particular is kind of my bread and butter, but it's where I kind of can layer the story of who I am, what I'm about. I do a lot of humor, because it's a typical Newfoundland thing anyway, but I crack myself up with stuff that I'm posting. So obviously somebody else might find it funny, which obviously it has. And I'm very similar to Troy, where I have my business page. It's a very professional page talking about things that I'm doing, but in the same breath, I inject a little bit of my personality in there, because ultimately when people come to your business page, they want to see, yes, you're successful, you're buying, selling, that's where your listings are, you're talking business and that you're an expert. But in the same breath, they want to see that, I'm a mom, I live in this community, I'm proud of where I'm from, some positive stories. I call it fluff pieces, the DIY 20 ways to do stuff on pallets, like I have a lot of moms who follow me and stuff. So like I put a lot of DIY, love your home. It's a very home kind of concept was my brand to begin with. Going into March, I guess really the only thing that I've changed up in a lot of ways was just scaling back the business side of things a little bit, because obviously things slowed down. I'm still every now and then kind of presenting. I have listings that are still coming to market. I still have, sales that are happening, but I kind of went to the other extreme. I am a mom, I have teenagers, and everything got shut down. So I actually started doing a series of Facebook live sessions, talking about stress and anxiety, talking about how to default your mortgage, talking about, people lost their jobs, they lost income. Two biggest stressors in life is finance and health. And it's the two big things that most people are stressing about today. So I said, if I'm feeling this way as a real estate agent and as a mom and as a wife and, worrying about, when the markets are going to come back, my clients are probably feeling the same way. So I kind of started this journey of a set of webinars that I probably will continue on beyond the pandemic, because I seem to be getting really good feedback from that.
Great, thanks, Tristan. We are going to talk a little bit more in detail about your webinar series. It's been fantastic. So we will get there in just a few minutes. I did want to start off again back to Troy. And it's funny because I think a couple weekends ago, I got a notification on my phone. It said, you know, Troy was going live, a live virtual house. Of course, when you go Facebook Live, it provides a notification into your phone. So I thought, hey, I'm going to watch this, which I watch a lot of live Facebook Lives that our network provides, you know, just making sure that I stay on top of things. And I was really, really impressed because I've seen a lot of virtual open houses that people have been doing lately on Facebook Live. And I was really impressed with Troy's virtual open house. And that's why I invited him. Not only is he doing some other amazing things on social media, but he's doing some really great virtual open houses. So Troy, can you tell me a little bit, just give me a rundown and overview and give the audience a rundown and overview as to how you're conducting these virtual open houses?
Yeah, I mean, I could probably go on a long time about them just from what I've experienced in the last few weeks. But yeah, like you said, I kind of decided that I kind of went through a period where it was time to get back to business and it was time to get involved and do something. So this was my way to be able to communicate with potential clients and potential home buyers, and at the same time getting exposure for my listings. So I initiated the virtual open houses, which I've had pretty good success with. I've had some really good engagement, which has been fantastic and what you hope for, and really good exposure for the listings as well. So basically my formula, I guess, for what I've done so far, and I'm always kind of trying to learn more and add more, but I schedule my open houses for an hour. And so my first one, I scheduled it from 1 to 2. It was on a Sunday. Generally, I do an hour and a half to 2 hour open houses. So this was a little bit shorter. I actually woke up the night before my open house in a little bit of a panic because what am I going to talk about for an hour? Like, am I nuts? But I mean, it ended up working out. The hour flies by. I kind of battled a little bit with whether I should do it on my Facebook personal page or whether I should do it on my business page. And I ultimately decided to do it on my personal page. So I have 3,000 friends, I guess you'll call them, on my Facebook personal page. I have about 1,600 likes on my business page. So my idea was to get as much exposure for the property as possible. So I did it on my personal page. I advertised it just with a post about 5 days before, then again about 2 days before, and then again the morning of. Went to the house about 15 minutes beforehand, just make sure all the lights were on. I was ready to go. I had some water there. I had a coffee there. So everything was set up. I didn't have to maneuver too much for those small things. And the light was good. The exposure was good. And then I hit the live button and I panicked again because it is crazy awkward to do. I'm okay with talking in front of people. I talk in front of people all the time, but whenever you're putting yourself in front of a camera like that and people can see you and I can't see them at all, it's really, really weird. So it was a different sensation, but I jumped in and I did it. Hit the live button. You don't go live right away. It asks you to post some information. So what I do is I would copy and post the previous verbiage that I had on the advertisement that I did. I would also make sure that I had a link on there. So anytime people were hearing me talk, I would reference back to that link so they can get a better idea of the measurements, some of the features of the house, any of the updates, the tax information, that kind of stuff. It's tough with the camera sometimes. You can't get the complete angle of the house. So I think it was important to continue to reference back to that link so people could jump on there and check out the full view with a wider angle of the listing. And then that was it. I hit go live and ran with it. You're in the moment, you're live, everything is raw. You're stumbling a little bit, but I think that's all part of the process. And I think people really appreciate that. Like I mentioned a little bit earlier, there's a little bit of a delay. So from the time you hit live, it might be maybe 10 seconds, 15 seconds before the people start jumping on. And then all of a sudden there's one person, and then there's 20 people. And then all of a sudden there's 50 people, and you're just kind of rolling with it. So I create a little bit of structure. Am I going too fast? I hope I'm not. But
nope, you're
okay.
good.
I create a little bit of structure just at the beginning of how the process is going to go. So I let people know why I'm there, what's going on in the markets. We're not allowed to do open houses anymore. So this is kind of the wave of the future and what we're utilizing right now for our clients. I explained that. I explained that I'm going to be going from room to room. I'm going to be talking about updates, that kind of stuff. And I invite them to ask questions at any time. So I don't have a time framed just for questions and answers. I prefer myself to go through, have people interact as I'm going through. I make sure that as people are coming on, I'm saying hi to them, I'm acknowledging them, asking them how it's going. A lot of people will hit a little wave button and wave back, which is cool. They'll ask me how I'm doing and that kind of stuff, and I'll answer them, and just kind of relaxes the entire situation a little bit. So I tell them that I'm going to go through the room, and then I tell them that I'm going to have a question and answer period where I'll just sit down and talk about any of their questions regarding market or local information, or what we're doing to help our clients, or what we can provide for our clients, and that kind of stuff. And then I start my tour. I basically start inside. I go from room to room, and I talk about the updates, the highlights. I try to throw that personal touch in so that I'm telling them what I like about the house, what I could see myself doing. I make sure that as I'm going through, I'm asking them questions. You know, could you see yourself here? You know, the first one I did had a hot tub. Check out this hot tub. You know, can you see yourself hanging out in this hot tub right now? And they're asking questions, they're interacting, and I'm going through and answering all those. That takes about 30 minutes, I guess, by the time I go from room to room and into the basement, rec room, that kind of stuff. I'll do the outside. After about 35 minutes, I put the camera down and I sit on the couch, or I sit at a table and just kind of open it up to talk about anything. I provide a little bit of market information, what's going on, how things are changing for us on a regular basis. We have weekly meetings with a mortgage broker, so they're providing us information that I try to share to them as well. And then I'll finish the last 10 minutes by going around quickly again. If somebody chimes in and says, hey, can you show us the bedroom again, or can you go outside and show us the porch? And they do that. Then I'll go around for the last 10 minutes and do that. And that's basically my approach to these open houses. So I thought an hour would be too long. It's definitely not. It goes by really, really quick. And you would be surprised at the amount of people that give you feedback and ask questions. So that really helps keep things going as well.
Great, thanks. Thanks, Troy. I just wanted to, as a viewer of your virtual open houses, I just wanted to let you know what I thought you did really well. So you mentioned, you know, saying hi to everyone, and that caught me off guard the first time I joined one of your open houses, because you went, hey, Chiyoko, and I went, oh my God, he knows I'm on. So I think what you do really, really well is you engage with the people that are watching live. You acknowledge that they're there, you talk to them. As you said, that's kind of one of your strategies, and I think it works out really well. The other thing is that you start with the camera on a selfie mode. I know you got a selfie stick, and you talk, and again, you explain the process, and then you turn the camera around, and then you give a tour, and you're watching the question as you're touring the house. So you are answering some of the questions. And what I liked about it too is, you know, someone will say, oh, you know, can we see the downstairs again? Or can I see that room that was off, you know, the basement? And you're like, yep, I can go down there. So you're really interacting with people. It is a definite two-way communication with the audience that is watching you. And I think that that is really good. And again, you ended off just looking at, you know, just turning the camera around and just talking to the people. So I think you're so natural. I think you've done a great job. Congratulations, because I know you've only done 2 weekends of this. So really, really amazing job. Can you tell me how the results have been? Because I looked at your virtual house that you did just on the weekend. I know some of the results, but why don't you tell us some of the results that you've been getting from these virtual open houses?
I initially thought that when I would do them, you know, I'll get 10 people watching, I'll get 15, 20 people watching maybe. I was blown away at the interaction that I had. So the first one I did, I had at the most, I had 65 people viewing it. I averaged about 45 throughout the entire hour, and that's people coming and going and kind of thing. The second one, I reached as high as 75, and I averaged about 55 to 58 people throughout the entire hour. You know, so it's been really good. And the engagements, you know, I'm thinking, I hope people ask questions. I hope they interact with me, but they do. They ask me how I'm doing. They ask about certain things. They say, oh, I really like this about it. And it's great. And thank you for saying that I look natural, because I definitely don't feel natural like everybody else would, I'm assuming. So yeah, so since then, what I do afterwards is I'll end the live, and you have the option to delete the video, or you can post it and keep it on your page. So I always post it afterwards. I think the last I looked, the first one I did was up to 1,000 views, 84 comments, numerous likes of people viewing it afterwards. And the last one I did, it was up to about 1,200 views. And again, same thing, numerous likes, numerous comments after the fact that it was already there. The first one actually resulted in an offer. So that did promote the people to submit an offer on it. So that worked out fantastic. That's best case scenario, I'm sure. But yeah, that one worked out for everybody.
Well, that's great, Troy. And as you said, that, you know, it's great that you're still doing transactions, even though you're doing them virtually. And, you know, the amount of people that are seeing this virtual open house, if you had an open house, I'm not quite sure how many people would show up for your open house physically, but you had, again, as you said, 1,200 views, you had 9 shares. Like, you know, you're not going to get that many people walking through a traditional open house. Yeah. So really good job.
Yeah, you have people commenting saying, I prefer viewing houses like this. And there's no doubt about it. This has kind of initiated it for me, but there's no doubt that I'm going to incorporate these virtual open houses into my business moving forward after this pandemic is done.
Great. And just one last question before we turn it over then to Krista is just about, you know, pre-advertising your open houses. So you talked about the first time you did it, you posted, I know the one that you just did on the weekend, you're posting in stories, you're posting in the post, you're posting on Instagram. Just a real quick, do you have some sort of strategy now to advertise your open houses?
No, I don't have a strategy, but I do have a little bit of information there. So I looked into, ideally, I thought that the best thing to do would be create an event and through Facebook, and then have people jump in there. Now, my goal was maximum exposure for the listing for myself. So I didn't want to create that event, because then you create that event and you're only getting people who either are interested or selected going to view that event. So what I did was I posted it on my personal page. Like you said, I posted it on Instagram to make sure I was getting the exposure there, linking back to my Facebook page, and I utilized stories as well. So I did not get into, I think after this is done, I feel right now people are craving some sort of interaction and entertainment, whether we are entertainment or not. I think we can all agree that people are looking for something to watch. So it was important to me to get to as many people as possible. And I did that by pumping it out on my Facebook personal page, pumping it on my business page, and then utilizing stories and Instagram as well.
Great. Well, thanks for that information, Troy. So let's turn over to another who's just totally comfortable and natural behind the camera. Krista, you've done an amazing job. I know that you have run some webinar series, and specifically how it talks to kind of uncertainty and opportunity during the pandemic. So tell me a little bit about these webinars.
So like Troy, it was like, okay, what do I do now? And I'm type like, I don't like to kind of just sit around and do nothing. And, you know, things kind of got a little bit slow. And I'm very well connected with my clients. Like I stay in contact with them, you know, years later, and I have a strong referral base. And so I naturally just started calling people. Hi, how's it going? You know, how are you doing? How are the kids doing? It was a bit of a shock that school closed so early. You know, you're just kind of staying in contact and you know, saying, can I do anything for you? And having those conversations, the message kept, I'm worried about my kids. You know, my husband just got laid off, finances, we're worried about getting it. I have older parents. So like all these kind of concerns and questions kind of kept coming at me. And I said, And of course, I was having, similar, I'm a human being, and I was having the same kind of questions and concerns myself. So then I was kind of like, let's go through my database. And I started with Tanya Mercer, who is a mortgage broker I work closely with. And a lot of people had questions about deferring mortgages, about like, how do I do this? Well, how do I kind of cut some of the costs right now and some of these concerns? So we got on and we just kind of had a chat, because we talk all the time anyway, and she's a natural on camera. So I lucked out, and I got so much feedback. Thank you so much. We didn't know what to do. I didn't think beyond just mortgages and credit cards and all those sorts of things. So then I kind of went to the next level, talking about small business. I've been an entrepreneur all my life, and start talking about, okay, how do you keep propelling forward and momentum? And I'm a big positive thinker type of person. So how do you keep forging ahead and come out of this ultimately stronger and better than kind of having to restart? Because you know what it's like in real estate, if you don't continue working on your business and you kind of shut down, you're going to have to start right, if it's June 1 and everything kind of goes back to normal, you're going to have to start from scratch, and you're going to be behind yet again. So you kind of have to keep momentum going. So had a great conversation with my sister-in-law. Again, more feedback. Thank you so much. I'm stressing about what to do. And of course, there's a lot of uncertainty for the first couple of weeks. So it's like, should I be doing business? Should I be talking about the fact that I'm still doing sales? Am I kind of bucking the trend where I should be home and quarantined? But like Troy said, we have a job, we have clients who are relying on us who still have to move, that were, through the process of everything's gone to escrow, and I still have to close houses. I have military families who have to move. So it was a little bit of turbulence for the first couple of weeks of should I, should not, because you were worried about getting, a lot of negative flack. But it seemed like by doing these webinars, it showed people that I'm thinking not just about the dollars and cents of it all, but I'm also caring about my clients and where they're to and where their families are from a mental health perspective. So it was kind of a layering, like Troy. It wasn't like this big elaborate master plan. This is what I'm going to do. It was like I started here, and then it just kind of built momentum. So.
Well, that's great, Krista. And, we've had so many great presenters, Richard Robbins, Chris Leader, Kathleen Black. And one of the things that they said, which totally stood out in my mind, was go from sales to service during this time. And that's really in many ways what you've done, right? You're providing a added value to your clients about how to deal with anxiety, whether it's anxiety that they're feeling, whether it's anxiety that their children are feeling, but it's really providing that extra level of service to your client and to your sphere of influence. I also know that you've been getting very technical on these webinars. So you are running similar programs to what we're doing here. Doing the the conversation or the meeting webinar through Zoom, and then kind of hooking and streaming through Facebook Live. And I know one of your sessions, because I was watching them too, was you had streamed it to YouTube and then you streamed it to Facebook Live. So there was a good opportunity to look at both channels. So can you just, without going into detail, because I know everybody can Google how to do this, but just tell me a little bit about the process you're going through in order to get this streaming live through those two channels.
So I'm not a big planner. So let's do this Facebook Live thing. And I knew at one point at Facebook Live, you could kind of do it side by side. So that didn't work. So I'm like, oh my God, Zoom, because everybody was talking about Zoom and we were using it a little bit for, keeping in contact with friends. So long story short, got into Zoom, started playing around with it. And you can, Zoom is free for most people. Most people don't realize you can actually go in and get a basic free program. It's really great to stay connected to friends and family. And I actually emailed it out to my clients to say, Nan and Papa are on the other side of the province. This is a good way to get them to get on the computer. It's very user friendly. But I did kind of upgrade to a basic program, and there's a streaming upgrade called Webinars. And it's about, I think, $50 a month. And that's where you can actually do the streaming piece. So you can kind of do, the little gallery piece and then actually, connect everybody. Hi, how's it going? And then stream over. Like Troy, I made the decision to go to my personal page. Again, you got more friends around and people want to see your face. And it is a conversation, not real estate. It's really about person to person. Everyone's kind of having these feelings and concerns. But eventually downloaded that video and then actually shared it over into my business page because it is relevant to business as well, especially the mortgage one about deferring mortgages and so on. So we kind of played around with it. I'm getting a little bit better at it. I can't say I'm the most technical person, but it's been a really great platform to be able to do virtual meetings with clients. I'm getting ready to do a new home construction seminar that we just pulled off about a month and a half ago, which with great success, talking about the new trends and things and questions you should ask. And my mortgage broker and builder will participate. So we're actually going to be doing the full meal deal with slides and everything like that, and actually be advertising that next week. So trying to utilize technology to the best way we can and still be able to answer questions and provide, a forum to allow people to still be able to plan ahead past the pandemic. So it's been a great tool, I got to say. And of course, there's other great tools, but Zoom in particular has been really relatively user-friendly for me to take on.
Well, as you said, that you don't really become comfortable with anything until you keep trying it and using it, right? So if you use Zoom, and starting off with your family, use Zoom with your family, get more comfortable, and then you can take it from there and, do Facebook Live, and you can do actually a trial Facebook Live to yourself. You just need to change the privacy settings, and then you can go to a bigger audience. But, it's really kind of just putting yourself out there, knowing that you don't have to be perfect and just taking the chance. Krista, I also wanted to talk to you a little bit about the rest of the content. And you mentioned this when you were introducing yourselves. You do have a definite theme for your social media, for your Facebook page specifically, and it's all around home and family. And that comes clear just as an outside viewer looking in. So, and you do have, you do insert pieces of humor there, which actually there's a few times I'm scrolling down and I just burst out laughing. So good job to doing that. Tell me a little bit about, what you're getting the most engagement on. So you're putting, you talk about recipes, you talk about crafts to do with the kids. When you're at home, you have these webinars. What are you getting the most engagement on?
Funny enough, it's humor. It's just it's a universal thing. And I found, like, even during the pandemic, I'm like, do I keep memeing? Or should I meme? Should I not meme? And it kind of became a thing I was doing on my personal page, and I was injecting a little bit on my business page. And fun story, I went to the Century 21 conference in Victoria, and I showed up and everyone's like, I love your stuff. And I'm like, and you are like, you got, names and faces on Facebook. So it's funny how, like, you make connections just through humor. So obviously humor is a big piece. And especially right now, everyone's going through the same thing. You want to kill your husband, or they want to kill you, and you don't know what to cook next, and the kids are cranky and stuff. So, like, it's kind of nice to kind of inject that everyone's kind of feeling the same thing and kind of laughing about it. Also the same thing, then I was like, okay, we're all home, so what are some good recipes? Here's some tips and tips and tricks on how to, do some meal prep stuff in advance of, because again, guess what? When this pandemic is over, we're going to be slammed. It's going to get busy. The kids are going back to, to their practices and stuff like that. So it's about kind of preparing for those sorts of things. Crafts to do with the kids, might be a few drinking memes for mom and dad who are cocktails that we can make at home and stuff. So it's kind of been more kind of lighthearted, because again, people are not looking to be sold on anything right now. They're just looking for a bit of entertainment, and Troy was spot on that they're just kind of looking for, to get to know you better. And I think this is especially video, because I really feel that it kind of puts, a face behind the name. And unlike Troy, I'm probably not the most professional virtual tour. I'm usually using filters on Facebook. I did a Patty's Day one with the hat and did a little howdy doody and almost threw myself down over the stairs, but it got views, and it's still, I had a couple of inquiries actually come through Facebook Messenger about it. So it does generate leads, just because people kind of know that you're not taking yourself too serious. You're still professional, but it's like, I can laugh at myself, and same thing, interacting, saying hi. I'm finding more and more years past, I would get phone calls and texts from people for inquiries. Now it's Facebook Messenger, more and more, because people have connected through you personally. So I'll get a random message for somebody that I'm going, it's a friend of a friend going, hey, mom and dad are thinking about selling their house, just curious. So I'm finding just through, in an indirect way, they're following you and kind of liking your vibe on Facebook. And so you're kind of front of mind. And that's really what marketing is. It's just staying in front of people and saying, I know you don't need me right now, but guess what? Time is coming. So I'll throw a few recipes and a few memes at you at the scene, and we'll have a laugh together, but I'll always be here to kind of provide service whenever you need me.
I think you nailed you nailed it when you said, just making sure that you stay top of mind, because even if you're not generating leads right at that moment, you're increasing the top of mind awareness that you have as a brand in front of your sphere of influence, right? So when it does come time to sell or buy property, someone's going to, message you, or someone's going to pick up the phone, or someone's going to email you. So I think that that's really important when you do these social media efforts. Sometimes you might, like with Troy specifically, with his virtual open house, he got an offer, right? That was a direct lead for that particular moment. But a lot of the stuff that we do is just building a personality, building some awareness out there, right? Just getting your face out there and getting people to like the personality and what you stand for. I think that's critical. We're just going to, before we go to some questions here with Lee, I just want to ask you guys a couple more questions. So maybe Troy, will go back to you. If I know that you do a lot of video, I know you do some pre-recorded videos to showcase your particular properties, and then you're doing some Facebook Live now. Can you give people some tips on how they could get more comfortable when using video?
The only way you're going to get comfortable is to do it. There's no secret formula, unfortunately. You need to, don't try and be somebody else. Just be yourself. People are going to recognize if you're being fake. So I think it's important to show your natural ability to showcase yourself and to showcase your listings. It is going to be extremely awkward. I've been doing video for a very long time. So maybe that has something to do with why I come across a little naturally in these listing videos. The Facebook Live is a new bird for me. So if that's a little bit different, and I'm still getting accustomed and used to just being so raw. I mean, we can do take upon take upon take when we're doing listing videos, but to actually put yourself out there, there's nothing that's going to help you with it until you actually do it. And just don't worry about it. Don't worry about messing up. Don't worry about stumbling over your words. You're a human being, and everybody who's watching you can completely understand that. I guarantee it.
Great, thanks, Troy. Trista, do you have anything to add to that? Or maybe, if a realtor hasn't been very active in social media, maybe they're just monitoring things and they want to get more active because they've listened to the two of you and they're inspired and they want to get active on social media. What are some of the tips or some of the things you could suggest to them to start an active Facebook channel?
I did a session probably a couple of years ago, actually, in our office, and a lot of people said, well, I can't do you, or I don't, I'm not you. And I said, well, I don't need you to be me. You need to be you. So, we did this whole exercise of, if you're new to, let's use Facebook just to make it easy for everyone. So if you're going to go on Facebook and first of all, you don't have a professional page, you need to create a Troy, C21 business page, mine is Krista Trask C21 or whatever, because you wanted a very distinctive business page. You don't want to bombard your friends and family with everything you're doing because they're going to unfriend you. You need your friends here, but you keep your business piece here. So that's first and foremost, understanding the role of both. But you inject a little bit of your personality in your business. So if anybody got questions, by all means, DM me. I'll kind of answer any questions along the way in terms of Facebook. But the other thing is, if you're just getting started, think about who you are. What do people know you for? So if you had to go and interview 5 or 6 people and say, okay, what are 5 things that you know about me? So if you're, an avid camper, or if you love to hike, or if you're, a musician or whatever, inject some of your personality into your real estate page so people get to know you, because realistically, your sphere of influence, your people that who know, like, and trust you, are people who are going to have similar interests anyway. They're probably moms like yourself, they're, they like going out and doing different things and whatever. So I had a friend who was a camper. So I'm like, well, talk about, camping season and things to pack and whatever. And you put some of those things into your business page, and people will get to go there, but have a theme, but also get to let people know who you are. If you're married, show a picture of your kids and that you're married, and that, that I'm a volunteer at the school and I do these things, because people are going to want to engage and work with people that they're comfortable with and that your values line up. So I think I talk a lot about volunteerism. I do a lot in my community. I'm proud of the community I'm in, and I really tout that. And I've kind of, in an indirectly way, farmed my area in a weird way, because that's where my people are. That's who I hang out with and I interact with a lot. So think about what you're doing. I have a whiteboard here, whiteboard it out and plan kind of what your messaging is, and then kind of start kind of putting articles and write about some content that's relevant to who you are. Don't go try to be, a DIYer if you have no interest. Go and be, the techie, or talking about stocks or investments and stuff. If that's your thing. Like Troy said, spot on. Be yourself.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Krista. So for those people that want to follow Krista, she is at Krista Trask. And thank you so much, Troy, too, as well. And if you want to follow him, he is at Realtor Troy. So before I pass it over to Lee, I just want to say a couple more things. Number one, I am going to put a challenge out there to everyone who's watching. It is a 21-day Facebook Live challenge. That means if you haven't done a Facebook Live before, you have 21 days to do at least one. And if you can tag me, I'd love to watch it. It would be really great. And the last thing is, just before I turn over to any questions, I know we've been going long, but it's such great content and they've really been able to provide great advice and inspiration to you all. But we are continuing to talk about social media later this week. On Friday, we have Chelsea Heights, who is a social media expert. She's going to talk about leveraging your stories. I've heard her before. She's absolutely amazing. I heard her on another webinar, so I asked her to join us so you can all learn from her, but she is excellent. So with that, I'm going to say thank you so much. I'm going to turn it over to Lee if there's any questions out there that Troy or Krista can answer.
Thank you, Chiyoko. We did have a number of questions coming in, and I know we're getting people when the questions get really technically specific, and that's what we're going to start with today. So let's start with Troy on this one. Do you use an iPhone with a stabilizer to make sure the video doesn't move around when you're walking around the house?
Yeah, so I use a selfie stick is what I've been using. Something I would advise if you're going to get into these would be to look at buying a stabilizer for yourself. So Osmo is one brand that I've looked at. I've actually ordered one. I'm hoping that it's in this week. That just avoids any of the unnatural shaking that you're going to get with a longer selfie stick. I can't stand when I see videos and it's right in your face and it's so up close. So I like to have that separation a little bit so people can see what's going on behind me, what my environment is. So for sure, I would look at the very least having a selfie stick that extends a little bit, and best case, order yourself some sort of a stabilizer. They're about $200, $185, somewhere around that, I believe. I think that would really come in handy.
Great. Krista, next question is for you. I've seen you try this in a few different ways. Do you use a cell phone? Do you do it vertically or horizontally?
Depends on the moment. Just kidding. Generally, I think usually I'll do like a horizontal. It's a little bit easier to pan because like that's the thing too. Like you don't need to go and get all the tools right away. Like if you're just getting comfortable with it, sometimes I'm like, spur of the moment, I'm in a house, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to talk about stucco today. Like, look at this stucco and whatever. So you haul out your phone, and sometimes you don't have all the equipment with you because you're not doing a formal walkthrough per se. So just do like a horizontal thing, have a conversation, do a pano. This is my personal preference. I'm sure the social media guru will tell us on Friday that I'm doing it wrong, but go and just play around with it. The stabilizer is a big one. I bought the Smooth, SMOVE, probably seen it on Facebook. It's a really good system. The same thing, it just kind of does this. So when I'm walking around and being clumsy and stuff, it will kind of keep it relatively steady. And also another thing to invest in, I just recently bought it, is I actually bought a little lapel microphone that was a recommendation from my friend. Same thing, it gives you better quality vocals, especially like sometimes I'll go around to a town and I'll say, here, I'm in beautiful Chapel Arm or something like that, and you can't really hear me well. Sometimes I'll use your AirPods, but having a lapel microphone, they're like $30 or something on Amazon. You can plug it in and plug it into your phone, so you're getting really good audio. So that's a whole nother level when you go there. But if you're going to do open houses, it's really worth investing the time. Plus, it's a business expense, so you can write it off. So it's a good chance to kind of up your game coming out of the pandemic.
Troy, my next question is for you. How do you capture contacts from the virtual open house and then follow up with them? Is it awkward?
No, it's not awkward at all. So after the open house is done, like I said, the video is posted onto your page. So I'll make sure that I go back in there at some point afterwards and answer any questions that maybe I've missed. Whenever your phone is set up in the live mode and you're horizontal, you can only see about 3 comments at a time. So make sure that I go back after the open house is done to make sure I'm answering any questions. Then either later that night or the next day, I'll go back on and I'll comment at the bottom. Thanks everybody for coming. Really appreciate the support and the engagement. and I'll like everybody's comments kind of thing. I have been getting a lot of DMs, so people reaching out to me through Messenger or through Instagram direct messages, just saying that they really enjoyed it, or they're looking for information or just to clarify something. So I'll make sure that I have that, and I will follow up with them for sure. A few days later, just touch base with them, see if they had any further questions about it or anything I can answer.
Great. Krista, this question made me laugh, and I feel like you're a good person to answer it. Sometimes in virtual tours, there's a certain smell, whether it be carpets or pets or smoking. It's not smell-o-vision. How do you disclose that politely in a virtual open house, or do you think you should?
Interesting question. Sometimes it's like the elephant in the room. I call it sometimes like it's great to do a virtual tour, but sometimes you got to do the scratch and sniff test. You have to come out and see it. You have to live the experience that I'm living. Sometimes it is what it is. If you're showing, a house that's had tenants, sometimes you're just like, and here's the laundry room with the 16 out, right? And you kind of laugh it out and you kind of move on. People know this is not wholesome, and you move on to the next room type of thing. Generally, for the most part, you're going to prep your house in advance of knowing that you're going to be doing these walkthroughs, but sometimes you're going to be like, you know what, we have pets, and if you're a pet owner, you're not going to smell it. If you're not a pet owner, there are odors and stuff. But yeah, generally we try to kind of not highlight it. But if you have a dog, I've done virtual tours where you've had the pet dog, which is like a beautiful dog in the background. I don't think we need to say there's a pet smell in the house, because this huge golden lab is right here next to me doing the tour and stuff. So it's unfortunately things that you have to kind of address, but for the most part, like I said, you're going to do your prep work and stuff, move the kitty litter out of eye shot and stuff like that, and try not to alarm people, because everything is fixable, of course.
And the virtual open house is sort of the first taste. If they want to see more, they can get a bit more information. Question for either of you: are you using Back at You Media?
Yeah, I'll go first. Sure. I am using Back at You Media. There's no question. Sometimes it's difficult to make sure that I'm posting content every day. So I do use it, but I use it carefully. I don't want to post too much, but I will have it active. I'll get the notification that something is going to be posted, and then I'll have the option, and I'll go on and either schedule it, delete it, change it to another day, or I'll just go with it. But no, for sure, I think that's also a good place to start. You have access to the Back at You Media. So like Krista said, create that Facebook business page, link it to Back at You Media, and then it's seamless. I have a lot of my agents here that aren't active on social media, but at least they have that presence because of the Back at You Media system.
Yeah, I also agree with Troy. I think it's been a great program to bring into your system. I used to use Hootsuite a lot. Of course, it was a paid program, and I'm big on scheduling content because life gets busy, and building content for your site, it's a full-time job. So it's nice to be able to, at scatter times when things are a bit quiet, or it's a Saturday morning and everyone's still in bed type of thing, I'll sit down with a cup of coffee and just go, okay, I'm going to take an hour or two now and just kind of scan through and put in my listings and stuff like that. The Back at You, like I said, obviously the content coming from C21 is great. So it's all those holiday meetings and greetings and, the home valuation things, but then also you can go in and create your own content. So if you want to link to your own listing, if you want to add articles, I use it all the time. And the beauty with that is you actually have a calendar, so you can kind of space out. So you're not like doing 50 posts on day 1 and then 2 posts on day 30. You can spread it out so that, it looks like you're always on adding content, but technically you probably took one day and did all of your work for the month. So it's a great step to kind of get started and kind of build yourself up to eventually you'll kind of get used to it and you'll be able to pop out a few things kind of organically. So I love the program. Actually, I found it really good.
And Lee, can I just add to something to what they both said? So just for those people that are watching in the industry, Back at You Media, or even people in our system, Back at You Media is a social media platform specifically designed for real estate agents, and you get it free just for being part of the Century 21 network. So I just want to make sure that everybody knew that.
Yes, you just have to go in and activate it. So there's lessons on how to do that in the resource center as well. Joel is asking, have either of you ever done a virtual open house tour or an online tour that is not actually in the house, either through a 3D tour or with still pictures?
No, I haven't. I love the idea though. I think that'd be a great idea. Um, and something I've played around with for a long time was doing talking about different neighborhoods in the city that you enjoy, or going to your closest park and talking about the area in front of the camera. So no, I haven't done it. I think that's a great idea. I think somebody initiating that would be would be really wise to.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just recently actually purchased the Matterport system for doing virtual 3D tours, ironically enough, even before the pandemic. So it's kind of come in as a handy tool. It's one of the things on my list actually of things to do, like how can I take this to the next level of, you know, because sometimes places could be an hour away. How do I use this now? So yeah, it's on my radar to start utilizing it. Another tool that I use too, that's a really great one, it's called Animoto, which is a program where you can actually take a lot of your professional pictures and put it to music, and you can put captions. So you can kind of do like a little virtual tour using your stills. Super user friendly. It's about $30 a month, I think, but it has a whole bunch of templates. It's a really great tool if you're not really graphically inclined. Pop those in and you can change them out. So I've been utilizing that tool a fair bit as well. So it's a great starter piece for anybody looking to do virtual tours using your photos.
We are running out of time. I have one last question for both of you. You've sort of been forced into making some of these changes. Obviously, both of you are adventurous and willing to try new things anyways. But is there anything you learned in the last month that even when things get back to normal, you will continue to do because you've really seen the value it brings to your business?
Yeah, for sure. The virtual open houses is going to be something that I incorporate into my business moving forward. There's no doubt. I think maybe I get 15 to 20 people through an open house, walking through it. I mean, if I can reach 75, 80 people, that's 75 or 80 people that are seeing the open house then, and then an extra 1,000 people maybe that I'm exposing that property to. So our job as realtors is to expose the property to as many people as possible. So for sure, I'm going to incorporate that into my business moving forward, 100%.
I'm the same way. I think I started these webinars kind of at a necessity because I'm like, well, I need to, you know, provide a service. And now more and more, like I had a colleague of mine call me and she said, so you're going to keep doing this, right? And I'm going, I don't know, like I did week 1. I don't know if I'm going to do week 2. Like, this is just like, I'm bored and I'm at home and I want to talk to people. But the more I'm getting feedback, I'm realizing that it was probably something that I'm an idea person, 16,000 ideas that I had in my head, but I really do believe in, it's a contact sport. It's about networking and pushing your brand out there and being, you know, putting yourself out there. So like I had a whole idea of going and doing interviews with like local businesses and promoting their services and so on and so forth. So that's on my list. I'm expanding my webinars now beyond just stress and anxiety. Like I'm doing a session on volunteerism and doing a session on meditation and whatever. So I think I'll layer that in, like once we go back to work full time, try to kind of incorporate it, because I think ultimately, like Chiyoko was saying, my main theme is really home. And what is home? Home is about, you know, health and happiness and everything that comes with it. And, you know, my goal is to obviously find you the best house possible, but then also helping you kind of enjoy your home to the fullest.
Thank you both for your time, for sharing your expertise. We've got a lot of really great feedback saying good information, good tips, things that people really feel that they can apply in their business. And I love the fact that you guys did it through experimentation to find the success and then shared your tips with us. So thank you, Troy. Thank you, Krista. We appreciate you. Chiyoko, thank you for putting on a great panel today. We are back here tomorrow. As usual, Tracy Anderson is talking about social prospecting and building your referral network in a situation like this. So we will see you back here at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, or for Krista, that's 2:30 in Newfoundland. Have a great day, everyone. See